Will the financial rescue and the presidential transition hurt biomedical research? The financial crisis and the rescue plan is just adding to the pressure on the federal discretionary budget, which funds the National Institutes of Health, which is, of course, the engine for all the great basic biomedical research that goes on in this country. It's putting pressure on the NIH, and it's also putting pressure in the private sector, which is important because that's where the money comes from to fund the small biotech startups that in many cases are translating that basic research into diagnostics and cures and treatments for patients in the real world. And the real shame here is that the need is greater than ever for this kind of work to get done. You've got higher chances than ever right now of natural epidemics sweeping around the globe, such as avian flu, of man-made epidemics, perhaps through bioterrorism, and of course we've got the aging of the population, which is leading to a real need for new treatments for chronic diseases of old age like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's that are taking such a toll on people and their families and on the economy. What is the state of NIH funding, and how does this shape the search for cures? Well, the NIH budget doubled between 1998 and 2003 thanks to a bipartisan effort from Congress, and that was great. That brought the funding level up to about $29 billion. The problem is that the budget has been kept completely flat since then. So, and when you take into account inflation, and biomedical inflation in particular, which rises at a higher rate than general inflation does, the actual budget for the research budget for the NIH now is about 13% lower than it was in 2004. And the terrible thing about this, of course, is that there's an incredible array of new tools available right now, from new technologies, from new abilities to manipulate cells and genes, new imaging methods, new computational methods that all could and should come to bear in biomedical research today, and much of this research is being stalled because of the lack of robust funding. How are opportunities for young scientists affected, and what can we do about it? Well, during the doubling of the NIH budget, a whole new generation of young, innovative scientists joined the workforce, and we're very excited about the new opportunities in this field. Unfortunately, since that budget has now flattened or shrunk, this whole bunch of new talent is getting discouraged and in many cases is getting squeezed out. Only 20% of research grant proposals today are getting funded at the NIH, and the average age of a scientist getting his or her first research grant has gone up to age 42 now. It used to be in the young 30s in the 1970s. So this is a really discouraging time for researchers who want to get into this field. Congress needs to step up to the plate next year when the continuing resolution runs out in the spring and the budget needs to be set for NIH in a more permanent way. I think at least $2 billion more needs to be added to the NIH budget just to keep a modicum of increase over inflation at this point. And a second point that would really help at this time would be for Congress to minimize its traditional earmarking of monies for certain biomedical research projects and allow the scientific process to go ahead to decide where we can get the most bang for our bucks in this important field.